When two giants of the game collided on live TV, no one expected their war of words to forge a bond that would inspire a nation to rethink rivalry and respect. The studio lights burned brighter than a summer sun, casting sharp shadows across the sleek set of Game On, the sports talk show that had America glued to their screens every Thursday night. The air buzzed with anticipation, electric and heavy, like the moments before a championship kickoff. The audience, packed into the bleachers of the New York City studio, whispered and shifted, their eyes darting between the polished desk and the giant screens flashing highlights of soccer legends. At the center of it all sat Cristiano Ronaldo, the global icon whose name alone could spark a frenzy. His tailored suit hugged his frame, his posture relaxed, but his eyes sharp, scanning the room like a striker reading a defense. Across from him, Mike "Bulldog" Carter, a former MLS player turned commentator with a reputation for biting critiques, adjusted his tie, his smirk promising trouble. Jake, the voice. Thompson, the host with a grin as wide as a goalpost, stood ready to steer the chaos, while Lisa Nguyen, the quick-witted co-host, leaned forward, her notepad clutched tightly. Tom Rivera, the rookie analyst fresh out of college, fidgeted in his seat, his pen tapping nervously against a stack of stats sheets. The crowd sensed it. Tonight wasn't just another episode. Something big was brewing. Quick pause. Drop a in the comments if you're all in, subscribe to never miss out, and keep watching. A shocking reveal waits at the finish line. Jake's voice boomed through the studio, cutting through the hum of excitement. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game On. Tonight, we've got a legend in the house, Cristiano Ronaldo. The crowd erupted. Cheers bouncing off the walls, phones lighting up as fans snapped photos. Ronaldo nodded, his smile small but genuine, the kind that said he'd been here before, felt the weight of 1,000 eyes. Jake continued, his tone teasing the drama to come. And we're diving into the big question. What does it really mean to play for your country? Mike, you've got some thoughts on this, don't you? Mike leaned into his mic, his eyes locking onto Ronaldo like a hawk spotting prey. Oh, I've got plenty, Jake. Some players wear the jersey for glory. Others? They're more about the spotlight. The crowd murmured, sensing the jab. Lisa raised an eyebrow, her pen pausing mid-air, while Tom's eyes widened, his hero under fire before the show even hit its stride. The set felt like a pressure cooker, the air thick with unspoken challenges. Mike's words hung heavy, each one a dart aimed at Ronaldo's legacy. The screens behind them flickered with clips of Ronaldo's iconic goals, his bicycle kick against Juventus, his header in the Euro 2016 final, but Mike's gaze didn't waver. He leaned back, arms crossed, his voice dripping with conviction. I played my heart out for the US team, Jake. Blood, sweat, the whole deal. But some guys, they treat the national team like a runway for their brand. The crowd gasped, a low rumble of shock and excitement. Lisa shot a glance at Jake, her eyes saying keep this under control. Tom, barely breathing, scribbled furiously, his admiration for Ronaldo battling his fear of Mike's wrath. Ronaldo, though, didn't flinch. His hands rested calmly on the desk, his fingers tracing the edge of a water glass. That famous jawline tightened, but his eyes sparkled with something unreadable. Confidence, maybe, or the quiet strength of someone who'd faced worse than a hot-headed commentator. Jake, sensing the tension spiking, tried to pivot. Let's talk about legacy, folks. Cristiano, you've won it all. Champions League, Ballon d'Or, the Euros. What's the national team mean to you? Ronaldo leaned forward, his voice low but steady, carrying the weight of a man who'd carried a nation. The national team? It's everything. It's home. It's the kid in Madeira dreaming of making Portugal proud. His words landed softly, but they hit hard, stirring the crowd into a wave of applause. Mike scoffed, loud enough for the mics to catch, and the room stilled again. Lisa jumped in, her voice sharp but diplomatic. Mike, you've been on that field. You know the pressure. Isn't it a bit harsh to say some players don't care? Mike's jaw clenched, his fingers drumming on the desk. Lisa, I'm just saying what I see. Some guys love the camera more than the crest. You can't tell me those fancy stepovers win wars. The crowd buzzed, phones buzzing as tweets flew across the internet. Game On was trending, fans picking sides already. Tom, caught in the crossfire, glanced at Ronaldo, hoping for a comeback. The rookie had grown up idolizing CR7, taping his posters to his bedroom wall, mimicking his free kicks in the backyard. Now, seeing his hero challenged, Tom's heart raced. Ronaldo, though, stayed cool, his smile faint but unshaken, like a captain steering through a storm. He tilted his head, studying Mike as if sizing up an opponent before a penalty shot. The studio lights caught the glint in his eyes, and for a moment the room felt smaller, as if it was just Ronaldo and Mike, two titans of different eras, locked in a silent duel. Jake, sensing the moment slipping toward chaos, clapped his hands. All right, folks, let's take a quick break. When we're back, we're diving deeper. Cristiano, Mike, you ready to hash this out? The crowd roared, hungry for more. As the show cut to commercial, the studio didn't relax. The crew adjusted cameras, their whispers barely audible over the hum of equipment. Lisa leaned toward Tom, muttering, "Mike's playing with fire tonight." Tom nodded, his voice shaky. "Yeah, but Ronaldo, he's not rattled, not one bit." Across the set, Mike sipped water, his eyes still fixed on Ronaldo, who was chatting quietly with a producer, his laugh soft but genuine. The contrast was stark, Mike's restless energy versus Ronaldo's unshakable calm. The audience, still buzzing, posted clips online, dissecting every word, every glance. Some called Mike a bully, others said he was just keeping it real. Ronaldo's fans flooded the comments with goat emojis, while others debated if Mike had a point. Back in the studio, the countdown to live air ticked down, each second tightening the knot in everyone's stomach. The show returned, the theme music blaring, lights snapping back to full blaze. Jake's grin was back, but his eyes darted nervously between his guests. "Welcome back to Game On. We're here with Cristiano Ronaldo, and things are getting spicy. Mike, you've got the floor. What's your beef with how some stars handle the national team?" Mike didn't hesitate, his voice booming like a referee's whistle. "Look, Jake, I respect talent, but representing your country? That's not about Instagram followers or million-dollar ads. It's about sacrifice. I'm not sure everyone gets that." The crowd murmured, some nodding, others shaking their heads. Lisa leaned in, her tone firm. "Mike, you're talking about a guy who's carried Portugal to titles. Doesn't that count?" Mike shrugged, undeterred. "Titles are great, Lisa. But showboating? That's for the highlight reel, not the history books." Ronaldo's smile faded slightly, but his eyes stayed locked on Mike, unblinking. The room felt like it was holding its breath, waiting for the spark to ignite. Tom, unable to stay silent, piped up, his voice cracking slightly. Mike, I grew up watching Ronaldo. His work ethic, it's unreal. I mean, he's out there training at midnight sometimes." The crowd chuckled, warming to the rookie's passion, but Mike waved it off. "Work ethic's one thing, kid, but when the team needs you to grind, not pose, what do you do?" The jab landed, and the crowd gasped again, louder this time. Lisa's eyes narrowed, sensing Mike was crossing a line, but she held back, letting the moment play out. Ronaldo shifted in his seat, his fingers lacing together. The studio lights seemed to dim, as if the universe itself was leaning in to hear him. He didn't raise his voice, didn't need to. "Mike," he said, his accent smooth but firm, "I've given everything for Portugal. Every goal, every sprint, every bruise. It's for my people." The crowd erupted, drowning out Mike's attempt to interrupt. Ronaldo held up a hand, not commanding but calm, and the room fell silent. "You talk about sacrifice. I know sacrifice. I've played through pain you can't imagine, carried the weight of a nation's hopes. But I don't do it for the cameras. I do it for the kid in Lisbon who believes in dreams." His words cut through the noise, raw and real, and for the first time, Mike's smirk faltered. Lisa seized the moment, her voice cutting in like a referee breaking up a scuffle. "That's powerful, Cristiano. Let's talk about that weight. Representing a country isn't just a game, is it?" Ronaldo shook his head, his eyes distant, as if seeing memories flicker like old game tapes. "It's a promise. To your family, your fans, your roots. You carry it all." Tom, emboldened, nodded vigorously, his notes forgotten. "That's why you're my hero, man. You make it look easy, but we know it's not." The crowd cheered, a wave of support washing over the set. Mike, though, wasn't done. He leaned forward, his voice softer but still sharp. "I hear you, Cristiano. But let's talk about those moments when the team needed a leader, not a showman. Like that World Cup game, remember? He didn't name the match, but everyone knew. The crowd hushed, sensing the stakes rising. The screens flashed a clip of a younger Ronaldo, his face etched with frustration after a missed shot. The memory stung, and for a moment Ronaldo's calm wavered, his jaw tightening, but he didn't snap. Instead, he leaned back, his eyes meeting Mike's with a quiet intensity. "I remember every game, Mike, every miss, every loss. They don't define me, but they shape me." The crowd roared again, louder now, as if rallying behind their champion. Lisa's smile was subtle, approving, while Tom practically bounced in his seat, his pen forgotten. Jake, sensing the moment was teetering on historic, clapped his hands. "Folks, this is why we love Game On. Let's take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. This is just getting started." As the show cut to commercial again, the studio didn't cool down. The crew whispered, their eyes darting between Ronaldo and Mike. Lisa leaned toward Jake, muttering, "This is TV gold, but we gotta keep it civil." Jake nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. Tom, still starstruck, stared at Ronaldo, who was sipping water, his calm unshaken despite Mike's barbs. The audience, meanwhile, was in a frenzy, social media exploding with hashtags and hot takes. Some called Mike a hater, others praised his guts. Ronaldo's fans flooded the feeds with clips of his speech, calling it a masterclass in grace. Backstage, producers scrambled to adjust the rundown, knowing this episode was already legendary. The countdown to live air ticked down again, each second a heartbeat in the charged atmosphere. When the cameras rolled back on, the energy was palpable, like the final minutes of a tied match. Jake's voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed the thrill. "We're back, and it's getting real. Cristiano, Mike's got you in the hot seat. What do you say to those who think you're more about the brand than the badge?" Ronaldo didn't hesitate this time, his voice carrying the weight of years on the pitch. "I don't play for headlines, Jake. I play for Portugal, for the fans who wait hours to wave our flag, for the kids who see me and think they can make it too." His words landed like a perfectly struck free kick, clean and true. The crowd roared, some standing, their applause shaking the studio. Mike's eyes flickered, a hint of doubt creeping in, but he held his ground, ready to fire back. Lisa, sensing the need to balance the heat, turned to Ronaldo. "You've talked about the kids, the fans. What's the hardest part of carrying that weight?" Ronaldo's eyes softened, a rare glimpse of vulnerability. "The hardest part? Knowing you can't always win. But you fight anyway, you fight for them." Tom, unable to hold back, blurted out, "That's why you're the GOAT, Cristiano." The crowd laughed, the tension easing for a moment, but Mike wasn't ready to let up. He leaned forward, his voice low, almost personal. "Fighting's one thing, but when the team needs you to pass, not pose, what then? I've seen games where the flash got in the way." The accusation hung heavy, the crowd split between gasps and cheers. Ronaldo didn't blink. His eyes locked on Mike's, steady as a penalty taker's focus. "Every game's a lesson, Mike. I've passed, I've fought, I've bled. You don't score 800 goals without knowing what a team needs." The crowd exploded, the noise deafening, as Lisa nodded approvingly and Tom grinned like a kid at his first match. Jake, sensing the moment was peaking, leaned in. "All right, we've got a lot more to unpack. Cristiano, Mike, you're giving us a show for the ages. Let's keep it rolling. What's the real cost of wearing that jersey?" The question hung in the air, a challenge to both men, as the studio braced for what was next. Ronaldo's smile returned, subtle but sure, a promise that he wasn't done yet. The night was young, and the stage was set for something unforgettable. 2. The studio lights blazed like a stadium at kickoff, every eye locked on the game on set where the air crackled with unspoken stakes. Cristiano Ronaldo sat tall, his tailored suit sharp against the sleek desk, his calm a stark contrast to the storm brewing across from him. Mike Bulldog Carter, his face etched with conviction, leaned into his mic, ready to double down. Jake, the voice, Thompson, the host, flashed a grin, trying to keep the energy high but civil, while Lisa and Gwen, the co-host, scribbled notes, her sharp eyes darting between the two titans. Tom Rivera, the rookie analyst, clutched his stats sheets, his hero worship for Ronaldo warring with his nerves under Mike's glare. The crowd, packed into the New York studio, buzzed with anticipation, their phones glowing as tweets flew. #GameOn trending nationwide. The screens behind flashed Ronaldo's iconic moments, his Euro 2016 triumph, his record-breaking goals. But Mike's words from before the break still echoed, accusing Ronaldo of chasing fame over duty. The stage was set for a clash, but what came next would rewrite the script. Jake's voice cut through the hum, smooth but charged. Welcome back to Game On. We're diving deep tonight with Cristiano Ronaldo and Mike Carter. Mike, you've called out players for prioritizing flash over substance. Cristiano, what's your take? Ronaldo leaned forward, his eyes steady, voice low but piercing. Mike, I hear you. But let me tell you something. Every time I step on that pitch, I carry Portugal. Not just the team, the people, the dreams, the hopes. The crowd erupted, applause shaking the rafters. Ronaldo's gaze didn't waver, locking onto Mike like a laser. You talk about sacrifice? I've played with a broken ankle, a torn ligament, a heart racing with pressure. I don't do it for headlines. I do it for the kid in Lisbon who sees me and believes. His words landed hard, each one a strike, clean and true. The audience roared louder, some standing, their cheers a wave crashing over the set. Mike's smirk flickered, but he wasn't backing down. He leaned in, his voice gravelly, eyes burning. That's a nice story, Cristiano. But let's talk real. World Cup 2018, that penalty miss against Uruguay. The team needed a leader, not a highlight reel. You took the shot, went for glory, and we all saw what happened. The crowd gasped, the memory raw. The screens flashed the moment. Ronaldo's shot sailing wide, his face tight with frustration. Tom's pen froze, his jaw dropping, while Lisa's eyes narrowed, sensing the line Mike was crossing. Ronaldo's expression didn't crack, but his fingers tightened around his water glass, the faintest sign of the sting. The studio felt like a pressure cooker, every breath held, waiting for the response that could ignite or diffuse the night. Lisa jumped in, her voice sharp but measured. Mike, you've been on that field. You know one miss doesn't define a career. Isn't that a bit harsh? Mike shrugged, undeterred. Lisa, I'm not saying he's not great. The man's a machine. But representing your country, that's not about one guy's stats. It's about the team. Sometimes, passing is leading. The crowd murmured, some nodding, others shaking their heads. Tom, unable to stay quiet, blurted out, "But Mike, Cristiano's got the most international goals ever. He's carried Portugal." His voice cracked, but his passion drew cheers, easing the tension for a moment. Mike waved it off, his eyes still on Ronaldo. "Goals are great, kid, but leadership, that's not always about the scoreboard." Ronaldo's smile was gone now, replaced by a quiet intensity. He leaned back, his posture relaxed, but his eyes alive, like a predator sizing up its mark. "Mike, you want to talk leadership? Let's talk Euro 2016. I was injured out of the final, couldn't play, but I didn't leave. I stayed, coached from the sidelines, screamed my lungs out for my team." The screens shifted, showing Ronaldo on the touchline, his face a mix of pain and fire, rallying Portugal to victory. The crowd roared, the memory electric. Ronaldo's voice grew softer but heavier. "I didn't need to score that night. I needed my team to win. And we did. For Portugal." The studio shook with applause, fans chanting his name, the energy seismic. Tom's eyes shone, his hero proving his worth, while Lisa nodded, her pen tapping approval. Mike's face softened, just a fraction, but he wasn't done. He leaned forward, his voice quieter, almost personal. "That was a great moment, Cristiano. No one's denying it. But what about the times the team needed you to grind, not shine? Like that 2010 World Cup against Spain. All eyes on you, and Portugal went quiet." The accusation stung, the crowd splitting between gasps and boos. The screens replayed the match, Ronaldo marked tightly, Portugal's attack fizzling. Ronaldo's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm, deliberate. "Mike, I remember that game. I fought, I ran, I tried. Sometimes you give everything, and it's not enough. You think that doesn't hurt? You think I don't carry every loss?" His words were raw, unfiltered, and the room felt it, the weight of a man who'd borne a nation's dreams and disappointments. Lisa seized the moment, her voice cutting through. "Cristiano, you're talking about the human side of this. Can you tell us what it's like, carrying that pressure?" Ronaldo's eyes drifted, as if seeing 1,000 matches in a single glance. "It's heavy, Lisa. You hear the anthem, you feel the eyes, millions of them. Your mom, your kids, your country. You want to make them proud, but you know you can't always win. His voice cracked, just slightly, and the crowd leaned in, hanging on every word. I've cried after losses. I've stayed up nights replaying mistakes, but I get up, I train, I fight, because that's what Portugal deserves. The applause was thunderous, a tidal wave of support. Tom, nearly bouncing in his seat, scribbled furiously, while Jake's grin widened, knowing this was TV history unfolding. Mike, for the first time, looked unsettled. His hands fidgeted, his usual bravado dimming. He took a breath, his voice softer. I get it, Cristiano. I've been there. The pressure, the pain. I played for the US, gave my all, got torn apart by critics. It scars you. The admission hung in the air, raw and unexpected. The crowd quieted, sensing a shift. Lisa leaned forward, her tone gentle but probing. Mike, you're saying you felt that way too, so why come at Cristiano so hard? Mike's eyes dropped to the desk, his fingers tracing the mic stand. Maybe it's because I know how much it takes. I see guys like him, legends, and I wonder if they really get what the jersey means. I've seen too many chase fame over duty. His voice was honest, vulnerable, a crack in the bulldog's armor. Tom, emboldened, spoke up, his voice steadier now. Mike, I was a kid when I watched Cristiano lift the Euro trophy. I saw him cry, not for himself, but for Portugal. That's duty. The crowd cheered, warming to the rookie's heart. Ronaldo nodded at Tom, a small gesture that lit up the kid's face. Lisa smiled, sensing the tide turning. Tom's got a point, Mike. Maybe it's not about flash or duty, it's about what each player brings, their way. Mike nodded slowly, his eyes meeting Ronaldo's, a flicker of respect passing between them. The screen shifted to fan tweets, flooding with support for both men, the divide softening as viewers felt the humanity on display. Jake, sensing the moment's weight, leaned in. This is what Game On is about, folks. Real talk, real heart. Cristiano, what's one moment with Portugal that changed you? Ronaldo paused, his eyes distant, then spoke, his voice thick with emotion. The 2016 final. I was hurt, couldn't play. I stood there, helpless, watching my team fight. When Neto scored, I felt it. Every tear, every cheer. That wasn't my goal, but it was my victory. Our victory. The crowd erupted, some wiping tears, others chanting CR7. The screen showed that moment, Ronaldo embracing his teammates, his face alight with pride. Lisa's eyes glistened, and even Mike's tough facade cracked, a nod of acknowledgement slipping through. Mike took a deep breath, his voice softer now, almost confessional. You know, Cristiano, I've been hard on you, maybe too hard. I remember my own days, the criticism, the weight. I got booed off fields, called a failure. It makes you question everything. The crowd stilled, stunned by the vulnerability. Ronaldo leaned forward, his voice gentle but firm. Mike, I've been booed too. I've read the headlines. Ronaldo's done. Ronaldo's selfish. It hurts. But I learned something. You don't let the noise define you. You let the game do that. The words landed like a perfect pass, clean and true. The studio erupted, applause rolling like thunder. Tom's eyes shone, his hero rising higher, while Lisa's smile was wide, proud of the turn. The screens flashed fan messages now, pouring in from across the country. Cristiano's heart is why he's the GOAT, one read. Mike's real for speaking his truth, said another. The divide was fading, replaced by a shared respect. Jake, sensing the moment's peak, clapped his hands. Folks, this is history in the making. Let's take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We're coming back to see where this goes. The show cut to commercial, but the energy didn't fade. Backstage, the crew whispered, awestruck. Lisa leaned toward Tom, muttering, This is bigger than we expected. Tom nodded, his voice shaky. They're not just talking soccer. They're talking life. Ronaldo sipped water, his calm, unshaken, while Mike stared at the desk, his tough exterior softening, as if wrestling with his own words. As the countdown to live air ticked down, the studio pulsed with a new energy, not just tension, but connection. The crowd, still buzzing, posted clips online, the internet alight with praise for Ronaldo's grace and Mike's honesty. Producers scrambled, knowing this episode was redefining sports TV. When the cameras rolled back on, Jake's voice was electric. We're back with Cristiano Ronaldo and Mike Carter, and it's getting real. Cristiano, you've talked about the weight of the jersey. What's the cost of that? Ronaldo's eyes met the camera, his voice steady but heavy. The cost? It's your heart, Jake. You give it all. Your body, your mind, your soul. And sometimes, it's still not enough. The crowd leaned in, every word sinking deep, the room alive with the raw truth of a legend bearing his soul. Lisa turned to Mike, her tone soft but direct. Mike, you felt that cost too. What's your story? Mike hesitated, his eyes flickering with memories. I gave everything for the US team, broke my body, lost sleep, took the hate, but I'd do it again. That jersey, it's bigger than any one of us. His voice cracked, and for the first time, the bulldog showed his scars. Ronaldo nodded, a silent acknowledgement, and the crowd felt it, a bridge forming between two men who'd walked the same path, just in different shoes. Tom, caught up in the moment, spoke up. That's what makes soccer special. It's not just a game. It's a fight for something bigger. The crowd cheered, the rookie's words striking a chord. The screens kept rolling fan reactions, now flooding with unity. Cristiano and Mike are showing us what it means to be human, one tweet read. The studio felt smaller, intimate, as if the whole country was gathered around a campfire, listening to two warriors share their truths. Ronaldo's voice broke the silence, soft but powerful. Mike, we've both fought. We've both bled. That's what makes us brothers, not enemies. The words hung heavy, a declaration of respect that silenced the room. Mike's eyes met Ronaldo's, and for a moment, the bulldog was just Mike, a man who'd given his all and seen the same in the man across from him. The crowd erupted, applause shaking the studio, as the night turned from a clash to a conversation that would echo far beyond the set. 3. The game. On studio pulsed with a warmth that hadn't been there at the show's start, the harsh lights now soft, like candles in a shared space. Cristiano Ronaldo sat at the sleek desk, his suit still crisp, but his posture looser, a man who'd bared his soul and found connection. Across from him, Mike Bulldog Carter, the once bristling commentator, leaned back, his tough facade cracked, eyes reflecting a newfound respect. Jake, the voice. Thompson, the host, grinned wide, sensing the night had become something rare, while Lisa Nguyen, the co-host, clutched her notepad, her sharp gaze softened by the emotion in the air. Tom Rivera, the rookie analyst, no longer fidgeted, his hero worship for Ronaldo now matched by admiration for Mike's honesty. The New York crowd, packed into the bleachers, was quiet but alive, their phones dimmed as they hung on every word. #GameOn still blazing across social media. The screens behind flashed fan tweets, clips of Ronaldo's Euro triumphs, and Mike's old MLS highlights. But the real story was unfolding live. A clash turned communion, a lesson in humanity. The stage was set for a finale that would linger long after the cameras stopped rolling. Jake's voice broke the hush, warm and steady. Welcome back to Game On. Cristiano Ronaldo and Mike Carter have given us a night to remember. Let's keep it going. What does it mean to leave a legacy with your national team? Ronaldo leaned forward, his eyes bright, voice rich with feeling. Legacy? It's not just trophies, Jake. It's the kids who pick up a ball because of you, the fans who believe in their country again. That's what I play for. The crowd erupted, applause rolling like thunder, some waving Portuguese flags pulled from pockets. Lisa nodded, her pen tapping softly, while Tom's face lit up, his notes forgotten. Mike, quieter now, looked at Ronaldo, his nod subtle but real, a silent salute to a truth they both knew. Lisa seized the moment, her voice gentle but probing. Mike, you've talked about the weight of the jersey. What's your legacy with the US team? Mike took a breath, his hands still for the first time, eyes distant. I didn't win the big ones, Lisa. No World Cup, no glory. But I fought. I showed kids like me, small town, no-name kids, that you can make it. That's enough for me. His voice was raw, unguarded, and the crowd leaned in, feeling the heart of a man who'd given everything. Tom, emboldened, spoke up, his voice steady now. "That's huge, Mike. I grew up in Jersey, watching you grind. You made me believe I could try." The crowd cheered, warming to the rookie's sincerity, and Mike's tough exterior softened, a small smile breaking through. The screens flashed a tweet from a fan. "Cristiano and Mike are showing us what it means to be real. This is bigger than soccer." The studio felt smaller, intimate, as if the whole country was gathered around, listening to two men bridge a divide. Ronaldo's voice cut through, soft but firm. "Mike, you're right. It's about the fight. I've won titles, sure, but the losses, they taught me more. They made me who I am." He paused, his eyes meeting Mike's, a spark of understanding passing between them. "We've both carried that weight. That makes us family, not rivals." The crowd roared, some wiping tears, others standing, the applause a tidal wave of unity. Lisa's eyes glistened, and Jake's grin was ear to ear, knowing this was TV history. Mike nodded, his voice quieter, almost confessional. "You know, Cristiano, I came in hot tonight, too hot. I've judged you, judged others because I know how hard it is. But hearing you, I see it now. You've given everything, your way." The admission hung heavy, a crack in the bulldog's armor that stunned the room. The crowd clapped softly, respectfully, sensing the weight of his words. Lisa leaned in, her tone warm. "Mike, that's big. Admitting that takes guts. What changed for you tonight?" Mike's eyes flicked to Ronaldo, then to the crowd. "This guy, he didn't fight me. He showed me the heart behind the headlines." Ronaldo nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips, and the studio erupted again, the noise seismic. Jake, sensing the moment's peak, turned to the screens. "Let's hear from the fans, folks. They're blowing up our feed." Lisa read a tweet aloud, her voice thick with emotion. "Cristiano and Mike, thank you for reminding us soccer's about heart, not hate. This is why I love the game." The crowd cheered, some chanting, "Game on," as more messages scrolled. "CR7's grace is unreal. Mike's real for owning it." Tom, caught up, added, "I'm seeing fans from all over. Brazil, England, Nigeria, saying this is what sports should be." His voice cracked with excitement, and the crowd roared, loving the rookie's passion. Ronaldo's smile widened, his eyes scanning the bleachers, connecting with fans who'd waited hours to see him. Mike, too, looked out, his tough facade gone, replaced by a man humbled by the moment. The studio lights seemed to glow warmer, the set a sanctuary of shared truths. Jake leaned forward, his voice soft but urgent. "Cristiano, Mike, you've both faced the haters, the headlines. How do you deal with that noise?" Ronaldo's eyes darkened, but his voice stayed steady. "It's tough, Jake. You read Ronaldo's done. Ronaldo's selfish. It cuts deep. I've lost sleep, doubted myself. But I learned, you don't let the noise win. You let the pitch talk." The crowd applauded, some shouting CR7 in rhythm. Mike nodded, his voice low. "I've been there, Cristiano. Booed off fields, called a bust. It makes you hard, makes you lash out. But you're right. The game's the truth." His honesty drew cheers, the crowd sensing two warriors finding common ground. Lisa turned to Tom, her smile encouraging. "Tom, you're the new guy here. How's this hitting you?" Tom grinned, his nerves gone. "It's everything, Lisa. I grew up idolizing Cristiano, grinding to be like him. But Mike, you showed me it's okay to mess up, to keep fighting. This is why I'm here." The crowd roared, loving the kid's heart, and Ronaldo clapped, a nod of respect to the rookie. Mike's smile was genuine, a rare glimpse of the man behind the bulldog. The screens kept rolling fan reactions, now a flood of unity. "This is what America needs, respect, not rivalry," one read. The studio was alive, not with tension, but with hope, a shared belief in something bigger than the game. Jake, sensing the night's heart, posed a new question. "If you could go back, change one thing in your national team journey, what would it be?" Mike went first, his voice thoughtful. "I'd listen more. To coaches, teammates, even critics. I was too stubborn, thought I knew it all. That cost me. The crowd clapped softly, respecting his candor. Ronaldo paused, his eyes tracing the desk, then spoke, his voice heavy. I'd savor it more. The anthems, the crowds, the brothers on the pitch. You think you've got forever, but it's gone fast. His words hit hard, the crowd quiet, some nodding as if feeling their own fleeting moments. Lisa's pen stopped, her eyes misty, while Tom's jaw dropped, struck by the legend's vulnerability. The screens flashed a clip of Ronaldo's first Portugal game, a young CR7 wide-eyed, the anthem playing. The crowd sighed, nostalgic, and Ronaldo's smile was soft, bittersweet. Mike's eyes lingered on the screen as if seeing his own debut, long ago. Lisa read another fan tweet, her voice breaking slightly. Cristiano, Mike, you're teaching us to forgive, to grow. Thank you for being human. The crowd erupted, some standing, their applause a wave of gratitude. Jake's voice was thick now. This is why we do Game On. Let's give it up for these two. The studio shook, cheers and whistles blending into a roar that felt like a stadium at full tilt. Ronaldo leaned forward, his voice cutting through the noise. Mike, we've both fought, both fallen, but we got up. That's what makes us who we are. Mike nodded, his eyes meeting Ronaldo's. A silent pact sealed. You're right, Cristiano. I came in swinging, but I'm leaving with respect. You've shown me what it means to wear that jersey. The crowd roared, sensing the bridge built between two giants. Tom, unable to hold back, blurted, "This is why soccer's the greatest. It's not just a game, it's life." The crowd laughed, then cheered, the rookie's passion infectious. Lisa's smile was wide, proud of the kid, while Jake clapped, his eyes shining with the thrill of it all. The studio felt like a family now, the tension of the night's start a distant memory. Jake turned to the camera, his voice warm. Let's wrap this with the big one. Cristiano, Mike, what's your advice for the next generation of national team stars? Ronaldo went first, his voice clear, commanding. Stay hungry, but stay humble. Work harder than anyone. Love the game, not the fame. And never forget the fans. They're why you play. The crowd erupted, some chanting CR7 as the screens flashed young players training, inspired by his words. Mike followed, his voice steady, heartfelt. Don't fear mistakes. They're your teachers. Fight for your team, your country, your heart. And always, always give respect. The applause was deafening, the studio shaking with pride. Lisa read one last tweet, her voice thick with emotion. Cristiano and Mike, you've made me love soccer again. This is what it's all about. The crowd roared, some wiping tears, others hugging strangers in the bleachers. Tom's eyes shone, his dream of being part of this world cemented. Jake stood, his voice breaking. Folks, this is Game On at its best. Give it up for Cristiano Ronaldo and Mike Carter. The studio exploded, applause and cheers blending into a symphony of unity. Ronaldo and Mike stood, their handshake firm, eyes locked in mutual respect, a moment that felt like a goal in stoppage time, hard-fought, unforgettable. As the theme music played, the crowd kept cheering, unwilling to let the moment end. Backstage, the crew clapped, some wiping tears, awestruck by what they'd witnessed. Lisa leaned toward Tom, whispering, "This is why we do this job." Tom nodded, his voice shaky. "I'll never forget this. Never." Ronaldo and Mike lingered, chatting quietly, their rivalry dissolved into something deeper. The screens flashed final tweets. This is the America I believe in. Heart, respect, unity. Social media buzzed, fans from coast to coast sharing clips, calling the night a masterclass in humanity. Producers scrambled, knowing this episode would be replayed for years. As the lights dimmed, Ronaldo turned to the crowd, raising a hand in thanks, his smile wide, genuine. Mike did the same, his tough exterior gone, replaced by a man at peace. Jake's voice closed the show, thick with emotion. Thank you, America, for joining us. Keep the game alive, keep the heart alive. Good night. The crowd roared one last time, their applause a promise to carry the night's lessons forward. Ronaldo and Mike left the set together, their laughter echoing, a bond forged in fire, now glowing with respect. The studio emptied, but the energy lingered, a spark that would light up conversations, dreams, and fields across the country, proof that even in a game of rivals, the truest victory is understanding. Watching the intense yet transformative exchange between Cristiano Ronaldo and Mike Carter on Game On left me deeply moved, as their clash evolved into a powerful lesson in humanity. The raw emotion, from Ronaldo's quiet strength to Mike's vulnerable admissions, showed that even giants carry scars. Their journey from confrontation to respect hit home, reminding me that beneath our differences, whether on a field or in life, we share the same struggles, dreams, and desire to be understood. Ronaldo's unwavering grace under fire taught me the power of staying calm when attacked, letting actions and truth speak louder than words. Mike's shift from criticism to humility showed that owning mistakes takes courage and opens doors to connection. This wasn't just about soccer, it was about life's messiness, how we judge, how we grow, and how we find common ground. The biggest takeaway for me is the importance of empathy in everyday interactions. Like Ronaldo and Mike, we often rush to judge others without knowing their battles. Applying this to my life, I'm inspired to pause before reacting, to listen deeply, and to seek understanding, whether with coworkers, friends, or strangers. Their story also reinforced resilience. Both faced brutal criticism but kept fighting, showing that setbacks don't define us. Our response does. I'm motivated to tackle challenges with grit, knowing that even failures are steps toward growth. Finally, their call to honor the game and its fans reminds me to stay grounded, to value my community, and to give back with heart, no matter my field. This exchange is a blueprint for better living. Lead with respect, learn from conflict, and lift others up. It's a reminder that unity, not division, fuels progress. I'm walking away with a renewed commitment to bridge gaps in my own life, to be a listener, a learner, and a teammate in every sense. If this story touched you as much as it did me, hit that like button to spread the love. Share this video with your friends to spark meaningful conversations, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that inspire and challenge us to grow. Drop a comment below. What lesson from Ronaldo and Mike will you carry into your life? Let's keep this vibe alive.